Mazel morons, welcome back to the Good Guys podcast. I'm sitting here with the new head of Donald Trump's Secret Service detail. It's Ben Saver.
I did my best, okay? I did
Solid.
my best. We are here with the great Rachel Feinstein, folks. Comedian, unbelievably funny. I actually had the pleasure of seeing you, Rachel, at the Cynthia Raleigh fashion show event
that
a
was
year
so
ago.
fun.
My wife Claudia also did that with you. So I've seen you. You're amazing. And everybody can watch Rachel and her new Netflix special, Big Guy, Good Guys. It just works. But so we're so happy to have
you're
you.
right.
Thanks,
This all makes
thanks for coming
sense. So
on.
you're Claudia's hysterical. She was very lovely to me that day too. I was so nervous because it was like a fashion stand-up. They were like, I'm used to just dressing like, like a district attorney to do stand-up. So I usually have on like some kind of Paula Poundstone blazer, and instead we were wearing these like very fancy Cynthia Raleigh outfits, and it was like a Cynthia Raleigh fashion show / stand-up gig, and it turned out to be super fun. The crowd was really good.
It was such a cool event. Like I remember Claudia was also nervous, but like Cynthia dressed everyone, and Nikki Glazer was there too, and it was just like it was awesome. It was super funny, and
Nikki's a good friend of mine, and we had a blast. You just like
how's she doing? She's struggling.
Yeah, she is. I feel so sorry for her. Someone should discover her.
What
tough
a
year
fucking
for her.
year.
There has
Tough
to come
year.
a point in your career where you let go because you're pushing and they're not receiving it,
Fair, yeah.
That's what I told her yesterday after she was nominated for an Emmy. I was like, stop pushing. It's so desperate.
She's crushing.
It's getting gross.
Good for her. Is doing comedy in a non-comedy venue terrible?
Generally, yes, but like it depends on the situation. But that was Sony Hall, which has a nice low ceiling. And after doing that show, I decided to shoot my special there because it looks it has kind of like a big theater feel to it, and it looks cool on film. But it has nice low ceilings, which is great for a comedy club because I like just the feeling of intimacy of a club. But a larger venue looks prettier on film and is just more important looking. It makes you look like you're doing better than you are. Honestly. So I love that venue, but I would say it depends on the situation. It's usually much harder, but they have good sound and everything there. But you know what really sucks is outside. No one wants like a gentle wind in the middle of stand up. That is a disaster. Anything outside, I know I'm going to bomb.
I've heard that the worst venue to do stand up in New York is the Seaport. There's a venue called Pier 17.
I've bombed many a time at the Seaport.
I mean, how do you stand up
bombing.
outside? How do you do it? I was like, how do you can't hear anybody laugh? It's
Such
crazy.
a bad idea. There's just like two things that don't need to be mixed together. Like there's nothing funnier about like breezes and horns and ships and wave sounds while you're trying to land a joke. It's a fucking disaster.
No,
yeah, who doesn't want to fail in front of the Intrepid? Who doesn't want to fail in front of the Intrepid? That sounds awful. But is it awful? Like the great Chris DiStefano has a story about how the owner, Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, he was asked by Steve's wife to come and do comedy at his birthday dinner. She's like, okay, private gig, no problem. And this is his story, but he says that I didn't realize that it was just 10 people at dinner in a noisy restaurant and I didn't have a microphone. So now they're like, hey, get up and do your thing.
It's a disaster, always. And they don't know why. Yeah, I bombed for like some sort of corporate thing. It's like the correspondence dinner. It's almost as important. It's what you do before they decide you're going to do the correspondence dinner. I think it's called RNC. And they were just like milling around the room, just fully ignoring me. And, there was like 17 people went up before me. And yeah, it's just people try to mix too many things with stand up. It should just be one thing. Yeah. And also music and comedy, fucking disaster. You never turn off a band and do comedy. Everybody will always choose music over comedy in any party scenario. So in general, I mean, I would. But I played once after my dad's band in Virginia, like West Virginia, in some weird dive bar, and they turned off the music, and then they put me on, and then this is like many, many years ago, and I got on, and they just kept screaming like requests at me. They're like, "Free bird, bitch!" Like I can't. Nobody accepted that. They're like, "You can and you will. Sing, bitch, sing." And then when I was telling my stories, they were more and more infuriated. That was one of the worst bombs I've ever experienced in my life. You know when you can kind of feel a bomb congealing, like you're like, it's going to happen, like it's like a soup collecting throughout the day. You know you're on your way to bombing.
Tell me about, what's your worst like bomb spiral? Like recently I was doing a gig for the day, this TV show, and the first half of the day went great. The second half of the day I had like a disagreement with another actor about the way we saw the scene, and it sort of manifested itself in that it just wasn't right.
Yes.
And it was painful. And I'm a sober guy. So cut to me walking around the Toronto riverfront, stuffing my big fat face with Canadian gummies and chain smoking Canadian cigarettes. Like, what do your, like, obviously it doesn't happen anymore now, but like back in the day, what would a bomb spiral look like after?
Definitely a hostile amount of eating, and I have to get out of the building fast. Like there's the kind of bomb where you need to get out of there. Like I've had dreams where I've had to be lifted at some sort of immediate device. Like they've developed new technology to get me out of a room in my dreams. But I mean, I think you have to get out, fast. I bombed once on my birthday in the middle of my set. I said, this is when I first started, I was like, somebody told me that if you say the most honest thing that comes to your mind, that the audience will respect that, which is great advice for like a veteran comedian, maybe like to connect. But if you're already bombing, they don't like want to like you to take them behind the scenes with you. They're not like, what makes her tick? No, they're like, tell me a joke, bitch. So I was bombing pretty bad. And then I went on right after Tracy Morgan, who just slayed, like destroyed. Like people were trying to touch him after, they were like pulling on his clothes. And I get on, I'm like, hey! And then hated me. And then about 2 minutes in, I bailed on whatever dumb character I was doing. And I was like, it's my birthday today. I was like, oh, this is real. This is honest. I was like, it's my 23rd birthday. And this woman stood up in the middle of my show and she just goes, 23 years of not being funny.
Oh my God.
Oh, devastating. And by the way, her line killed. Like she did like a kind of like a victory lap around her own table, like a Chinese fire drill high-fiving everyone
Tracy's
she knew.
Sister.
And that I was like holding on to chairs. I had to get out of there.
Oh my God, that's so good.
It was pretty rough. Yeah.
Why do we
just weeping and eating? Why do we? You tell me, please.
That could be your book, Weeping and Eating. That's good.
Feeding and weeping.
Why? So, why do we put ourselves through these things?
Well, a cocktail of things went awry, and also for me, a lack of other skills, employable skills. So it's it's a combination of some sort of like early vague rejection or trauma mixed with. For me, I can't do anything else. Like, I wish I was the kind of person that made this noble decision to like leave a career as a doctor for the arts, but I never went to college and there was nothing else on my horizon. I was going to live at best in like a Grey Garden situation if I didn't do this, like homelish.
Right. But they not having a backup plan, assuming it's going to work out, is kind of, you can't have too many options.
I do think that's true.
You'll take them.
Yeah.
Because it's too hard. It's too scary. There's too much uncertainty, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so. Yes, definitely. I think it and also it is really fun. It's a high. It's like an adrenaline-based career. So it's, speaking of addictions, it's very satisfying. Once you go on stage and you have that first laugh and that first set, it's like, what am I going to do? Something else now? It's both miserable and like the most fun thing ever. Right. So, yeah.
What do you think?
You live in New York? You live in New York, right?
Yeah.
Are you from New York?
No, I grew up in Bethesda, Maryland.
Okay. And
do you know where that is?
I assume I've never been to Bethesda. I've heard great things though.
I heard our people are from Pikesville, the Jews. Sorry, Ben.
But the New York club scene, what's like your favorite? Do you enjoy playing comedy clubs in New York? Like, is that still something that's fun for you?
Oh, yeah. Yes. It's home. It's great. Yeah. I come off the road and go to the Cellar, and that's usually where I hang out. And the Olive Tree. It's just like a little restaurant above the Cellar, and everybody hangs out and kind of, just feels like home there, and comics that aren't even playing there. And the Stand is also a pretty good hang. But yeah, I love the Cellar. Speaking of rooms like that, nice low ceiling, intimate room. The crowds are right up against you, and it's just a fun feeling. And I like New York crowds a lot. I also feel like DC crowds tend to be pretty good, and Strangely enough, like, I don't know. I feel like you can't really track anything about the city to why they're great crowds. I was in Toronto, amazing crowds, Texas. I don't know why. I have no insight. But I feel like there's certain places where they're both smart, but they don't care what you say and they're not uptight. And that makes for a good...
The Midwest.
Yeah.
The Rust
St.
Belt.
Louis, fucking great. Yeah. Good working class crowds.
High murder rates means good for comedy.
But New York, once you get in that room, like, it's funny, like, New Yorkers are definitely like a little bit more on the liberal side. And then you get in that room and you really can say whatever you want. And when you start to say whatever you want, it gets people even more excited. I think it's like this freeing feeling that, like, the city is so uptight, but you hop into a comedy club and and comedy is protected. Like, at least as the person watching it.
I definitely think that that's true. I also feel like there's the bloggers and people that are enraged every day about a cocktail of things, and then there's the people in clubs. And my feeling when I go around on the road, and yes, and often in the more uptight cities in certain ways or more liberal cities, is I feel like when it comes to the actual crowds, they don't give a fuck. They don't like it when people are parsing words. It's a release for everyone. The people that are really enraged are pretty rare. They're just some blogger that needs an angle for an article. But real people, they don't give a shit. They're like exhausted and they're pissed off at their husbands or wives and they want you to talk some shit, you know?
And so when you go to the clubs, are you trying new material? Is that what you're doing typically?
Yes.
And do you go in prepped, or do you ever wing it? Like, what does that look like? This episode of the Good Guys podcast is brought to you by Kiwico. Kiwico delivers seriously fun learning for kids of all ages through hands-on projects and activities. Each month, kids receive crates packed with engaging hands-on activities designed to introduce them to exciting science, technology, and art concepts. There's always something new for kids to discover, like engineering robots or learning about the science of ice cream. With 9 monthly programs to choose from, Kiwico has something for kids of all ages, ranging from infants and preschoolers to teens and beyond. You guys know that I have a bunch of young guns in this house, nieces and nephews, beautiful children, always needing entertainment, and they are loving learning about the science of ice cream. Who wouldn't? I love learning about the science of ice cream. If we love it, they're going to love it. They need nurturing. They need nourishment. Get Kiwico for your young nieces, nephews, daughters, sons, etc. They're absolutely going to love it. Discover real science, technology, engineering, art, and math concepts through fun, hands-on projects delivered to your door every month. Each crate is designed by real experts and tested by kids to ensure that every experience is age-appropriate, engaging, and seriously fun. Crates come with everything needed for kids to build, including materials and instructions. You'll be surprised at how high quality the materials are, too. Redefine learning with play. Explore projects that build confidence and problem-solving skills with Kiwico. Get 50% off your first month on any crate line at Kiwico.com with promo code GOODGUYS. That's 50% off your first month at Kiwico.com, promo code GOODGUYS. KIWICO.com, promo code GOODGUYS. This episode of the Good Guys podcast is brought to you by Nutrafol. Now, folks, I've spoken about this before. When I was growing up, I had gorgeous, thick hair. I know my hair still looks good. It's important to me. But when I tell you my dad's hair, so thick, he looks like he's 16. It's unbelievable. The volume, you can only dream of that volume. I dreamt of that volume. I had that volume. I no longer have that volume. I'm trying to get that volume back with Nutrafol. Started 9 months ago. Things are certainly getting better, but my hair was thinning. It was shedding. I was just having overall hair issues. And I have seen improved hair growth, decreased shedding. It's visibly thicker. It's much, much better. And folks, look, it's the summer. The summer's here. And for you, that means more days spent outside at the park. For me, it means more days outside cooking. Maybe you're at the beach. Maybe I'm cooking. Maybe you're at the pool. Maybe I'm still cooking outside. Regardless, make sure you're taking extra care of your hair this summer, since sun, salt, and SPF can all affect your hair health. Now is the perfect time to start taking Nutrafol, because Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, with over 1 million people seeing thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding. So get the results you can run your fingers through. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code GOODGUYS10. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code GoodGuys10. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code GoodGuys10.
I always wing it, and it's not because I'm like artistic or brave. It's because I'm extremely lazy and I don't organize anything. Yeah. It's not like a choice. Yeah.
Yeah, the comedian way.
Yeah, I wing it because I'm like teeming with ADD and like, yeah, I'm shedding debit cards. That's why I'm winging it. You know, the same reason I didn't go to college. Like everyone in my family did, but me. Yeah. So I text myself like a loose idea or something, and then I lose the text or can sometimes find it. Things are all scattered around in my notes. I've never sat down to write ever. I want to. I'd like to be that person. I'd have more specials if I did, but I just don't. So it usually most of my stand-up comes out of like something I'm complaining about, something that just freshly infuriated me, or something that fresh humiliation, you know?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Good Guys podcast. That's literally all we do. Things outrageous, we talk about them. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm constantly recovering from a slight, either real or perceived, that's happened in my life. I'm on 3 to 5 sites a week. Like where I'm just like, feel wounded, and I'm amazed by like, we have to talk about this because you didn't marry a Jew, right?
No, isn't that disgusting of me? What a fucking godless whore I am. Oh, you didn't either. That makes me feel so much better.
I'm a godless whore too.
That makes me feel so much better.
A nice Irish Catholic broad.
Me too.
I married an O'Brien.
And, yes.
But I look at her walking around free of neuroses.
Maybe you guys can trade.
Yeah, perfect. Cute. But Ben, on the other hand, married probably the most Jewish person he could have married.
Besides myself. Yeah, we're big Jews and we're proud. Very proud.
Do you guys like to be inside? A lot of air conditioning? Do you dissect service?
Yeah. We take a lot of Zyrtec.
Me too. I'm always Zyrtecing.
I travel everywhere with a fan. Like, yeah.
You do, right?
You bring a fan?
Yeah, I have I'm in a beautiful house in the Hamptons, and I have a Honeywell fan right in front of me. Just
that
blowing
so
on
funny.
me. It's air conditioned. There's no issues, but I need a fan.
It's so funny. I was talking to Sam Morrill on the phone, and he was complaining about, he's like probably one of my very best friends, and he was complaining about how I realize every one of our conversations just turns into a litany of complaints about every aspect of our lives. And he was complaining that his air conditioning broke, and then he was saying that his mom said he could stay there. I was like, oh, do you want to stay there? Why don't you just stay there? And he's like, well, then I can't complain about it. I want to complain that my air conditioning's broke.
Right,
Yeah,
totally.
like,
Complaining is something to do.
It is an art.
It's a hobby.
Really is.
It's a hobby.
I dissect everything. I'm just like, oh, I'm the worst. Yeah. But I'm always like looking at people's choices. Meanwhile, look at myself. I was just hunched over in your kitchen here. Just speaking of feeding, I had all the snacks in a row. Just fucking, it was so disgusting. I was like, you pig.
I do that every time I come here.
Oh, that makes me feel better. I was lining everything up and like shoveling stuff in my sack. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Get a hold of yourself.
But like, think about you. Like, you won't be back here often. I'm here weekly.
That's for sure. That was a threat.
No, but like, I'm here weekly, and I have no shame. I have no shame. I'll be like literally in the snack closet, like throwing sparkling water in my backpack, and the lovely person who works at the desk, Jade, will be like, thirsty, huh? And I'll be like, Jade, turn away.
I know. 2 people walked in there, and they were just like, what is this rag doing in the kitchen? I'm sure. It was really disgusting. I was like, anytime anybody says free food, I'm like, well, how much?
Yeah.
How much can I get at once? I used to choose relationships based on what snacks they had, like in elementary school. I didn't give a shit about this bitch. Like, I was there to clean her out, you know? I would just lay down, just feeding. Anyway, what we were talking about.
I once found a wallet when I was 6 in the bathroom with $20 in it. And I gave my friend Jordan that $20 because I had no concept of money. But what I did have concept of was fucking zebra cakes. And I was like, yo, Jordan, let me get those zebra cakes. Do you want this $20 bill? He's like, of course. And of course, Jordan, the snitch, he told his mom, she called my mom. She said, did you give $20 to Jordan for zebra cakes? And I'm like, yeah, Mom. I'm like, because you have your own food issues and we have to eat fucking Snackwells and not Sara Lee. And
this is fucked up. I had a very similar experience. Why people, it's very traumatized. Speaking of trauma, it's not like some poor lady was like assaulted and she's like, bitch, relax. But like, I feel like I chose friends based on snacks and then would get shamed for what I ate at their houses. And like one of my friends told my mom, I used to talk about this on stage, but one of my friends' mothers confronted me about how much I was eating when I went over there. Can you imagine doing this to like an 8-year-old child? This is why I'm here right now. And when I need this.
No, this is my life. You're speaking my life.
Yeah,
You're speaking my life.
Who would do this to an 8-year-old? She walks into the kitchen, this cunt. And she was like, you're eating a little too much when you come over here. My mom has mentioned that we need some of those snacks for lunches and just feels like you kind of like overdo it a little bit. And I was like, yeah. And then the mother came in and did a follow-up conference with me where she was like, we need the ho-hos because they had that display pack where they have the like rows of Hostess cupcakes and like the way they are in the store.
Right.
So I mean, it was just so exciting for me. We had Melba toast, just like low-grade depression snacks, like war snacks. You know, my mom's snacks were devastating.
Yeah, hurricanes. Yeah, survival snacks.
Rachel, we are the same. In
really?
New York, you don't have the
thing?
same snacks as the people in the suburbs. I'd go to my friend's house in New Jersey. They have that just walk-in closet full of snacks.
Oh, God, I love a pantry.
You're eating Entenmann's, you're eating M&M's, whatever. You get that talking to by the mom. The mom's like, okay, you're eating too many snacks. And so I went in and they have a Costco-sized thing of blueberries. So I started eating the blueberries. I'm like, there's no issues here. I'm eating fruit. He's like, Ben, you ate all of our fruit. So there's no winning with these people. There's no winning. You invite me into your home. Let me eat. Let me eat.
Don't track our snacking. You're a bad person. If you're tracking a child's snacking, you're not good. You should be tipped in a river, as far as I'm concerned.
That said, I was a very, very fat teen. I'm still large, but like I can't even imagine how many blueberries I ate. I can't even imagine. Like huge containers. Josh,
that's all you had.
Blueberries you've ever eaten.
Well, the real blueberry king is Marshall back there. He tracks which Trader Joe's has the crispiest ones, right, Marshall?
I do. I forgot I said that.
He's a blueberry king, our little blueberry.
Marshall is very lovely. And whenever somebody offers me something when I go in a building, I feel like I take them up on all of it. I'm like, I want to use the bathroom. I want the snacks. I want all the coffee. I want treats. And yeah. And it's like, I say, that's when you know you don't really have money yet, when you just say yes to everything. I'm like, I'll have Sweet and Lows and Stevias with just everything.
Yeah, like even if I will have had a full meal and I won't be sitting in like first class, I'll be like in premium economy on Delta. And I know that the snack cart's going to come around and what is it? Biscoff, pretzels, something else.
Yeah.
And I have no interest in eating. I don't want to eat. I actually am against eating on planes, but I'll be like, give me the Biscoff because I'm going to put it in my backpack just in case.
Just in case, God forbid.
JIC, just in case.
Jessica Curson showed me how to bring like a plain bag. She was like, you got to bring stuff with you. And she always says, she's such a mom. She always like helps me out because she knows that I'm going to want to just stuff anything that's offered to me. But she always has like her rice cakes and her systems and she brings extra things. It's always like we're preparing for like some end of the world scenario or something. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of in our DNA.
But never hot food, right? We're just talking snacks. You're not bringing hot food on planes, right?
No.
That's nuts. That's a what are you nuts?
But we've
unhinged.
seen it. I've spoken about it on this show before. I've looked to my right and thought, what the hell smells like salmon? And there's a woman eating hot salmon.
No,
that she brought from home in a Tupperware container.
That's rancid. That's rancid. It's a speaking of vile bitches. Yeah, that's not acceptable.
They shouldn't even they shouldn't have restaurants at the airport with really stinky ass food like that because there's a chance someone's going to bring it on the plane.
Yeah, no, that's weird and deranged. I just took like 5 things from your kitchen for the plane to Hawaii tomorrow. And they're prepackaged snacks. Thank you.
So you mentioned that
I just shoveled them in my Adam Carolla like merch bag. Yeah. And I was like, you're disgusting. I put 2 of them back. But I couldn't fully scold myself. I walked it back a little because I'm like, they're going to see him poking out of there.
Look what I got. I work here.
Okay.
I got some flaming hot big Cheetos for the ride home.
You're worth it.
Ooh, why not?
That's a good snack. Whenever I'm there, they don't have that. They don't have that when I'm there.
We got new
snacks. Normally like brands I've never heard of. You have brands I've heard of? This episode of the Good Guys podcast is brought to you by the McDonald's Quarter Pounder with Cheese. Let's talk about something delicious, something hot and juicy, something cooked when you order, something fit for a good guy. It's the Quarter Pounder with Cheese. It's a burger so iconic that it's simply known as the QPC. Each QPC features a burger that's sizzled on a flat iron grill and then topped with slivered onions, crispy pickles, and 2 slices of melty cheese on a sesame seed bun. I'm salivating just talking about this. I am not doing well. Let's distract ourselves by talking about our ideal moment to savor and enjoy a QPC, which, after recording this read, may be the minute we're done recording this episode. Look, folks, it's no question. Love a QPC. Love it. Long day, QPC. Long car ride, QPC. Short day, QPC. Short car ride, QPC. I absolutely love a QPC. I absolutely love eating in my car. What's better than eating in the car? There's something about eating in the car that is so fantastic. There's also something great about delivery. You know, you don't want to get up. You want it ordered. You want to order it. You want it delivered right to your couch. Do it with McDelivery. The QPC is a burger that napkins were made for. And as someone who enjoys sauces galore, I feel extremely seen. I am the sauce god, celebrity chef. It's the burger worthy of a nickname. Order the QPC today. Wait before cooking 4 ounces. Fresh beef available at most restaurants in the contiguous U.S. Not available in Alaska, Hawaii, and U.S. territories.
Yeah. Cheetos brand. Frito-Lay, baby.
Wow.
Wait, wow, I wanted to ask, amazing. You're flying to Hawaii tomorrow to open for the great Chelsea Handler. Mm-hmm. Take us on that journey. What does that look like? You land, hop off a plane in Maui.
Everyone's
opening for
on my
Chelsea
dick right away. Everyone's on my dick.
What's it look like?
I can't move. Everyone's seen the special. They all want a piece of me.
Totally.
They're trying to take my bra off as soon as I get off the plane. And no one knows who I am. No one cares. And then I try to find an Uber. Or usually I read my email as I'm landing. Like, I have no idea what's happening tomorrow. I don't know who's picking me up. I just hurl my body, read an email. And I'm like, am I supposed to meet Tammy or something somewhere? I have no idea what's happening. It's you. I've never opened for Chelsea before. She just DM'd me on Instagram and was very lovely and offered me to do her podcast and do some dates with her. So I have no idea, but I bet she's a good hang. Wouldn't you guess?
Well, will you guys be doing drugs and have dinner? What's the expectation?
I don't know. I always, when I'm opening for somebody the first time, just try to not be in anybody's way, not ask for anything. But yeah, if blow and hookers are brought in the room, then obviously it's blow and hooker. No, I'm just kidding. It's just just bring in the grease sluts. Come on. No, I don't know. I am a mother. I'm gonna nap. I'm gonna sleep through the night and probably have a few drinks. But
do you guys, when you're opening for someone big like that, do you have your own separate green room? What is like the pre-show?
I would assume that I do because I've never opened for Chelsea before, but I would assume that I have that they don't need me stinking up soiling her space. I'll have my own peasant snacks. I'm sure she'll have a nice fat platter.
It's going to be bring your own snacks. Just load up from Dear Media.
A giant barrel of Utz cheese balls. Thanks.
But I have heard, Mateo Lane,
so
he's worked
funny
with her and he said that she's a good hang and stuff. So I'm sure it'll be fun,
And are there stipulations that you get from someone like her or whomever, like the way they want to be introed or like things that, like I've heard on certain comedians' podcasts where they'll ask their opener maybe to like stay away from certain subjects?
I haven't opened for a while, so because I was for many, many years opening, but I'm mostly obviously headlining now.
Yeah.
So I don't really remember the last time, but Chelsea Handler's Chelsea Handler. You have to do it. I think she's great and hilarious. I don't remember I remember back in the day having a lot of demand. You know who would have the most demands, and things would be, without getting into names and just unnecessarily trashing people that helped me, I'll say that a lot of those very religious, super, anybody that's super family acts, they're
Jim Gaffigan.
I didn't open for Jim, thank God. Meaning that would sound like I was talking about him. Jim's been very cool to me, but Jim is very funny, lovely. But I'm talking about family guys that you open for. Cannot say names. Feel free to guess. But
is it a comedian who talks like this? No.
The guys that are all about, you can't say all these words and you can't say, they're the dirtiest Of course they are, right? It's always the guys that are just like, I'm a family guy. And then I find that it's the filthiest guys often on stage, the guys that they'll say anything on stage I was mostly treated like just a comic that was opening for them, like David Tell, loveliest guy you're ever going to work with, text me every, New Year, Shayna Tova. Like, he's just a sweetheart. Always treated me like a comic when I used to open for him, So I feel like a lot of the guys that are maybe more edgier or whatever, Billy Burr, was just cool, like so nice, and just felt like a comedian. And then I oftentimes, I felt more actively terrified with the kind of like family acts where I was like, I'd heard some warnings being whispered before I got on the road with them,
Ugh. I'm interested to ask because I think of the relationship, I'm more of the emotionally closed off one than Ben, who's beautifully emotionally available. You talk about you and your husband. You've been telling stories recently that are so funny about like how your husband will tell you like that his best friend is like getting divorced. And you'd be like, what do you mean? And he'd be like, I didn't really ask any follow-up questions.
Yeah, that's entirely true. Complete moron. I was like, you have to text him something. He's like, what do I write? I'm like, what do you mean? What do you write? Compose a sentence. Ask him to come over or anything, They were sitting in the kitchen for like 4 hours. And he's like one of his best friends. And he didn't know that he was divorced like 2 months earlier. It's outrageous. Yeah, no. I come from, like Jewy oversharing therapist's mother. Yeah.
Right, because your mom was a therapist.
Yes, no boundaries. Yeah, she was a therapist without boundaries. It was a lot. I remember my mom when I was a little kid, my mom would talk to me a lot about her patients and sort of different people's dark problems that I never asked about. I remember her picking me up from a play date once, and she picked me up in the car, and she was like, did I tell you that, I'm trying to think of a fake name for this woman really fast because I cannot say her real name. Yeah. Did I tell you that Donna had a terrible breakup with her husband, Roger, and their sex life was thoroughly ruined. Apparently, she was mugged at knife point, and Roger couldn't protect her, and he blamed himself. And after that, he wasn't able to perform. And that now she has a marvelous second husband, Sunder. My mom, all this, by the way, is just so my mom can say Sunder and just like blast herself to that name because she's so aggressively liberal that she just wants to say Sunder. So she's like, and her second husband, Sunder, really helped her to come alive. Sexually? I'm like, can I have a fruit roll-up? Bitch, get a hold of yourself.
Mom, I'm 9.
I'm 9. Yes. You foaming lunatic. I'm 9 years old. My mom is like liberal to a point where it almost goes full circle and you become racist. You know what I'm saying? Because like when she talks to my mother-in-law who's Colombian, her inner monologue is like, I'm talking to a Colombian woman. Like she's too excited. She's doing like a Latin jig in her own mind when she talks to my mother-in-law.
That is so good.
So yeah, she was always telling me about people's just weird, dark stories. I remember being like 7 and she had somebody that she didn't even know very well that was dying. She loved to tell me that somebody might pass soon. I know. I'm like 7 years old. She's like, remember that lovely lady that works at the front office in your pediatrician? I'm like, no, none of this. I'm going to the pool.
Is this in violation? Is it HIPAA? Is that what it is?
I'm probably. I don't want to call my mom out. Let's not get into that.
I'm just saying. We could sue her. We could.
Yeah, get her license taken away, even if she doesn't practice anymore.
I'm sure it is. But this isn't even the people that she was
suing your mom.
This isn't even the people that were her patients, which I heard many things about. This is just like random people where she'd be like, I remember her playing me this video of some woman that she knew through somebody else that was slowly dying, and I was like 7, and she played me her like farewell video to her family, and the last song was like, I'm leaving on a jet plane. I remember at that moment just being like, I gotta get out of this house, like something's gotta give.
Some, Jewish mothers are not the most appropriate. Like, I just remember my mother at like me being like 10 or 11 years old would be like, this creme brulee is orgasmic. And I'd be like, ugh, what the fuck did you just say? Like, don't talk like that. Orgasmic. I'd be like, I'm going to kill myself.
Orgasmic is amazing. So is your mom also suffocating? Like, did not a lot of space? Did you guys experience this? A lot of
course,
like, enmeshment.
But we love them. But we love them to death. Like all we do is talk about our moms. They're the best. But yes, incredibly overbearing. 5 times a day calls. I wouldn't have it any other way, though. I wouldn't.
Exactly. There's a lot of like, my parents always ask me what I ate on the phone together. Like, so what did you have for breakfast? You know, it's like, and they act like it's necessary information. Like they're filling out like a form so that I can fly tomorrow with like, well, what did you eat? You know, it's not even like that much excitement. It's like, we need to know, obviously, we got to put it down here and your middle name and your birth date. Yeah.
My dad called me today. I picked up the phone. I said, hey, Dad, what's up? He said, I forgot. And he doesn't have memory problems. Like he's 65. He's fine. He's like, I forgot. I'm like, okay, you'll call me back. Calls me back a minute later. He remembers. It's just small talk all day long. Like, Dad, I'm working. Yeah, I know. What's up?
I love it. And I also talk, I'm like that too. I do talk to my friends throughout the entire day, like lots of unnecessary updates. And I love also how my parents also will get on the phone together about anything, accuse every single thing that they do. They accuse, like they come up to New York to visit me. They say their GPS doesn't work 10 miles from my house. I'm like, doesn't make sense. It's not like a thing. And my dad's like, well, it shuts down fully. And he's like, the entire apparatus goes quack. I'm like, that sentence, none of those words make any sense at all. They're always accusing something of happening that's not. They tried to like use some website. My mom was like, your father and I both think it's not safe to put our credit card in some of these scam sites. I'm like, you can use any website. Just use it's fine. It's Bye Bye Baby. Like, but my mom didn't feel like it was a safe idea to get when I was pregnant. To get something off Bye Bye Baby. And she accused the site of attacking her credit card.
I'd rather that than the opposite, which is I think my parents fall susceptible to every single scam on planet Earth. Like my dad will get a text like, hey, I have 10 grand outside. Just give me all your information and I'll give it to you. And he's like, really? I won? No, you didn't win.
That's amazing.
No, you lose every time. You lose.
Oh, my mom will give my number. My mom's number is like in the white pages on the internet or something, and people know that she's my mom. They'll call her saying they need to talk to me, and she'll go, 917. No. Oh yeah, I have voicemails from people being like, just chatted with your mom, great gal.
Oh my God. What's your mom's name?
Barbara.
I love Bob. Of course her name is Barbara. She sounds tremendous, and she has an orgasmic experience when she eats, and then she's like, oh, of course, let me give you a cell. I fucking love Barbara. The name Barbara is fucking amazing. There's no babies that are named Barbara. There's only mothers that are named Barbara. It's a terrific
You can't
name
name a baby Barbara. Imagine you're holding a 3-day-old. I'm going to name you Barbara. There are names that are just, you can't do it anymore. Imagine naming your son Gene. 1 day old Gene. You can't do it.
It's an adult with a long scarf. She was born with like a long necklace, a beaded necklace, and a long scarf.
I mean, it's God bless my mom. You know, her entire apartment is a shrine to me. Like, and so she's been having these physical therapists who've been coming to her apartment recently, and she goes, "These physical therapists, they come in, they all know my son, Josh. You're renowned." I'm like, Mom, I'm not an orthopedic surgeon. Like, I'm not renowned. Don't use that word with me. I'm from Drake and Josh, babe. Like, no one gives a shit. But she's like talking like I'm a neurosurgeon. You are renowned.
Oh, I love her voice
with
so
Gen
much.
Z.
What's your mom's name?
I give a shit, Josh. I give a shit. My mom's name is Ava.
Ava. That's very beautiful, actually. I love the name Ava, except we know who had that name. That's the only problem.
She's a stunner.
Is she? She's a hot lady? And what's your father's name? What's your father's name?
Bruce. He's also
Bruce is such a dad's name.
Baby.
We had a neighbor that lived behind us named Bruce Baum, and my mom, when my brother would have a tantrum, great therapist solution, she would just put him in the backyard, and that's what we always did. She was like, "Oh, Aaron's having a damn tantrum again. Put him in the backyard." And so we would my brother was always red in a diaper in the backyard, you know. And then it's dinner time. We got to get him back again. We would forget, you know. And so Bruce Baum used to come over, bang on our back door, and be like, "Karen, come on, you got to take him back in." She'd be like, "All right, Bruce, shit, get back here." He was either put in the backyard. He was always red and furious, just like writhing around back there. Or my dad's threat was that he would take us to the local park and spank my brother in front of all of his friends.
Oh, God.
And he would be like, "Tell you what I'm going to do. He never did it. He was like, he was like a lazy Jewish guy. He was going to go take the time to pull it. No, he was a smear of a man. But he'd be like, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you out. I'm going to spank you in front of all your friends at Maplewood Park that are playing soccer there on the North Field. It was too specific, though. It was a good threat,
Right.
And he would have me like in a half Nelson and just release it and be like, all right, I don't want to get spanked in front of my friends playing soccer right now.
Do your parents have like weird stories from their youth that are darker than they should be, but they share it with you? Like my mom would always say,
yes,
growing up, we would go to Vincent Pond. I once fell through the ice and I had to go to my friend's house, but I didn't fit in any of her clothes, so I had to wear her father's clothes. I'm like, Mom, this is brutal. She goes, it was hysterical. I'm like, I don't think so.
The amount of times that I've heard the story about my great uncle Bummy zipping up my dad's fly and catching his nutsack in the fly at 9 years old. Unbelievable.
Amazing.
He tells it once a year about Uncle Bummy catching his nuts in the zipper.
My mom also likes to walk me through childhood trauma. In the moment that she has a story where she was almost taken by the Mormons. I'm like, Mom, you tell that Mormon story every fucking year. And she's just like, and then they had me in. And I said, I do not believe in proselytizing. And I would like to continue to go to dances and have fun. But Jesus Christ is not my frickin' savior, is what I said. Thank you very much. No flipping thank you. And it's all, she always gets sassier and she tells the Mormons off at each time she tells them. I'm like, relax. I'm sure they just politely offered her over to come over or something. You know? I don't buy it.
Nice guy with a name tag said, do you want a pamphlet?
Yeah. I never believe it, really.
The exaggerating of a story is classic.
Yeah, I'm like, this is growing.
For sure. It's always
She's like,
the
and then
biggest problem.
Yeah, I'm like, please, no one. No, but the Mormons were probably exhausted by her.
Right.
She was the last thing they needed.
What was, with having a very therapized mother, what was going through like puberty and teenage years? What was her insights then?
She just left a book on my bed that said All About My Body book for girls. And she told me that if I ever experienced anything sexually that I enjoyed, I should put it in a journal. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So she basically suggested I start an orgasm journal when I was like 15. Whoa. And then just left this book on my bed. And she goes, there's nothing wrong with finding something attractive. Shit, I think Kevin Costner has great buns. She always told me she loved Kevin Costner's buns. Wow. He does have nice buns. She would love them in Dances with the Wolves. She said they really sent her into a real frenzy.
You know who Barb loves? Andy Garcia. She's always horned up for Andy Garcia. I'm like, Mom, relax. I wound up having lunch with him once, and I was like, I didn't say anything, but I kept seeing like, I kind of get it.
No, he's really hot. But
But she
doesn't need to tell you that what gets her rocks off. There's a real supply and demand issue with that. You're not wondering what does it for her. Right. Yeah, that's the problem. But she put a book on my bed that said All About My Body. It was called All About My Body book for girls, and something about like that. And then it had like a tit chart. I'm sure they didn't call it that. A breast growth chart. And it said like stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I didn't care about the rest of the book. All I cared about was that tit chart. And so every night I got a pink tube top and I would just put it on to see where I was in the tit chart and just try to like squeeze my non-tittage together. And my mom walked in on me once doing that and took the book away from me. Instead of like realizing I was trying to, she's like, well, if you're only looking at the damn breast chart, then you're not keeping the book. Not like, oh, okay. And I was like, can I have a bra? And she's like, you're not big enough for one. Who says that? Like, clearly I just wanted to feel like, she examined my non-tittage and she's like, you can't have a bra. There's nothing there. Absolutely not. And just took back my tit chart.
Wow.
Can you believe this bitch?
God bless her. I want to meet her.
Did your parents have a sex talk with you? Did you get any sex talk? Or any like puberty talk?
No, not really a sex talk. Josh knows this story and our listeners do. There was one very awkward encounter where I think I was probably like 11 years old, and me and my friends watched porn at my friend's house. And my friend told his mom, and then I told my mom, and then the moms got us all together and we talked about what we saw, which was squirting. And that led to just an awkward group conversation. But no, there wasn't much of a sex talk. We left that to our sketchy PE teachers.
Should we get to our What Are You Nuts?
We should. So Rachel, every week I said we complain a lot. Every episode we do something called What Are You Nuts? People, places, and things, gripes with humanity. You walk down the street, you're like, lady, you are fucking nuts. I can't believe you just did that. It can be applied to anything and everything.
Okay.
Should I go first?
You think about it. Ben and I will go first.
Please.
And big or small, whatever's just like annoying you.
What's infuriating
in the
you.
moment.
Yes.
Go for it, Ben.
So this is a two-part What Are You Nuts? First, I'm sitting in an Italian restaurant, and I asked the waiter if I could have a bread basket. And he says, oh, no, there's bread on the menu. No free bread at an Italian restaurant, first and foremost, is nuts. It's nuts. It's something that you come to expect. A nice bread basket. And honestly, the nicer the place, the nicer the bread basket should be. Josh, we've spoken about this before. The Carbone bread basket, second to none. It's better than the actual food. So, okay.
It's outrageous. I've never heard the likes of it.
Then I go to look at this menu, okay? The bread, it says it's a focaccia. It's $18. I ordered it. I ordered it because I had to order it. I needed bread. Bread comes. This focaccia looks like matzah. It's paper thin. And when you look under it, it says crispy focaccia. It's a full-blown cracker. It's $18. It's served with no butter. It's oil and sea salt. $18.
Pigs.
I don't normally do this. Place was called Tutto El Giorno. No good. No good. Absolutely nuts.
Thumbs down.
Nuts.
That's an absolutely unacceptable.
Nuts.
Especially an Italian place. I'm shocked they don't have a bread. That's unacceptable. That's infuriating.
But you know what they don't? And granted, I'm not eating a lot of Chinese food in New York anymore, where I'm from, but because I've lived out here so long. You know what they rarely have at Chinese restaurants anymore are the fried crispy wontons when you sit down, like the
so delicious.
Remember with the duck sauce? Yeah,
of course.
Like,
yes.
And that was an East Coast staple, but they don't do that anymore. The noodles, the fried noodles.
Do you think that the crispy wontons, Joss, were just a vessel to the duck sauce? Like I would have used a spoon if there was no wonton.
Sometimes
I didn't need the wonton.
I would do a hybrid, half hot mustard, half duck sauce.
Ooh,
and that was like
so good.
You kidding me?
That sounds absolutely delightful.
Yeah.
I like to kind of scoop things with a coffee filter and kind of lower it into my face in a hotel. Everybody stop pleasuring yourselves at home, please, to the story. Macaroni and cheese, just lowering it into my stupid waiting face. I know you're going to say it was too sensual at the end and it became distracting.
No, I get it. I get it. Nothing like feeding yourself in the bed of a Marriott Courtyard.
There's something so sad about that little corridor in a hotel where it's like it's not a restaurant, but it's not even a mart. It's just like that's sad little closet that you're shopping in on the road. I've never felt as throbbingly lonely as I have in that little station where you can like microwave something and you just have like 4 things to choose from. But yet if you don't have that, I feel panicked. Like I like a hotel. I don't want to be outside. If you find me in the woods, something's gone terribly awry. Like right. I don't want to camp anywhere. I want to be either I'm on a beach or I'm in a hotel. I don't want to Airbnb. I don't mean somebody else's home.
Totally.
I want to be able to call people and I want to have notes for them and I want readied snacks. So I stayed in like Pantages in like Toronto, and like they didn't have any snacks, no vending machine, nothing. Come on now. They said their vending machine was broke. That's not okay. I need to be able to, if I bomb, to go home and just hurl everything in my dumb face.
Okay, my What Are You Nuts is, okay. The other day I'm at the gym and I'm bad moment where bad timing. You are literally in a gigantic locker room right next to the other person getting dressed.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I start hearing a whistle rendition of "What am I supposed to do when the best part of me was always you?" But the guy is like literally next to me going,
good.
I'm like, "What are you nuts?" Like, first of all, whistling indoors, not allowed.
No, disgusting.
Whistling within 6 feet of someone should be considered
deranged. You're going to make a suit out of someone's skin. It's deranged behavior. You're impersonating a human. I don't believe in you as a man.
Unacceptable. Like, and
was he naked whistling?
he was in versions of nudity, and like you're singing some, I don't know, who is that? Gavin DeGraw's Greatest Hits? What are we talking? Who sings that song? I just was like, there is something so unhinged about whistling this close to another man.
Especially when you're naked. I feel like you're almost, it's a cover up for some sort of shame that you should be feeling in that moment. Because one time I was roommates with this guy, and I mean, I was dating a guy and he had a roommate, and I thought he was away for the weekend. He thought I was away, and I guess my boyfriend was at work or something. And he walked into my room. He clearly didn't think I was there. He was with a girl, and I guess she was in the other room. I don't know what he was going to get in our room. Maybe he was looking for a condom. I don't know. But he walks in buck naked with a full erection, just trying to like look for something, just dick out. Okay. And I was like, he turns the light on. I was like, and he was like, and then he walked away singing to himself. He was like, working hard for a living. I'm like, no, you can't choose a tune after that. Your dick was out and hard. Our relationship will,
you have to say goodbye forever. You don't recover
it's
from
over. You move out or I move out.
Erection.
Yeah, it's over. Not working hard for a living was the song choice too. It's outrageous.
Do you have what are you nuts?
Do I? God, I can't. Now that I'm actually giving the assignment, I can't think of anything.
That last one, your story about your friend's erection was pretty good.
Thank you. He turned all the lights on, and he was absolutely hard. And then tried to sing that tune to cover it up.
And I like your rendition of working hard for the money is working hard for a living.
I just got the lyrics wrong. You're right.
I was thinking to myself, I'm like,
now
is that
there's
a new
nothing
song?
to trash me for in the comment section, but I'm glad you told me that because I've been telling that story
wrong. Is that
wrong.
a new song? I was thinking it.
Working hard for the money for the living?
Well,
how dumb am I? I run dumb, I realize.
So do I.
I will say this. You know when people pass
hard
this
for a living.
Working so hard. Will you sing it to me so I can learn this and become
She works
smarter?
hard for a living.
You have a pretty good voice. Wow, I'm rocking out.
We all work hard for a living. Rachel, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on this podcast. Folks,
Thank you.
If you don't rate this one 5 stars, what are you nuts? This is a 5-star episode. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Watch us on Josh's YouTube so you can see us animated in real life. Share our clips, Instagram, TikTok, Mondays and Thursdays, folks. And don't forget to watch Rachel's Netflix special, of course.
Do you want to do any plugs, any dates, anything you got?
Sure. When does this come out?
Probably within the next week and a half.
Okay, you could watch my special, Big Eye, like they said, streaming on Netflix right now, and also go to my Instagram, Rachel Feinstein _. I post most of my dates there are on my website, rachel-feinstein.com. I'm on the road a lot this summer, so I'll have plenty of dates coming out.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.